Today I'm going to be reviewing the Sakura black paper sketchbook. But first, a little bit of backstory. I've always been a big fan of art journaling, or at least I've always been a big fan of the idea of art journaling. Using a variety of mixed medias and introspection to play around creatively, it seems like a really great way to get to know yourself as an artist and as a human being. I find it very difficult to get started with this. There's so much resistance to the process sometimes, and often the thing keeping me from creating is as simple as the fear of a blank page. Often, too often, I'm guilty of scrolling endlessly through Pinterest for a long period of time, admiring other people's finished pages rather than starting my own. There's just so much cool stuff out there, but comparing myself to other artists is really fruitless when it comes to something as personal as art journaling. For a long time, I've hoarded much ephemera for collages, but I haven't used them yet. I tend to save the good stickers and pictures in hopes of the perfect opportunity, but I think I need to break those habits. Art journaling is so good for mental health. I need to be more experimental and to just allow myself to create things without a constant need for finished product, since it's the process that provides the most benefits to the artist. So I set out on a quest to find the perfect sketchbook to become my new art journal. Michael's is the only art supply store in town. It can be a bit pricey, but there are always sales and coupons. It can be a good place to stock up on paper. This book caught my eye immediately. It's a Sakura black paper sketchbook, and it's bigger than I would normally work. I was initially just looking for something half the size, but since my goal is to make this a playful and experimental art journal, I decided to let myself stretch out a bit more. I'm not used to working on black paper, but I feel really drawn to it. Maybe this will be the cure to the overwhelming void of the blank page. My initial impression of this sketchbook is that it feels like a really nice quality. It's the A4 size, so it's 8.3 by 11.7 inches. There are 160 pages of 140 GSM paper, so it's nice and thick. The pages have a really smooth texture, and I can tell it won't be good for watercolor at all. It's heavy with a faux leather hardcover. It's got a ribbon bookmark, an elastic closure, and a big pocket in the back, which will be perfect for storing bits of paper for collage, which might mitigate some of the mess that I plan on making. So now I need to figure out which materials that I want to use in this art journal. So I'm going to have a look around which art supplies I already have and have a play around with swatching. The lighter the color, the better that it's going to show up on the black paper. My goal is to make it as easy on myself as possible to just jump right into my art journal whenever I'm feeling up to it. Once I get an idea of what works, I'm going to put those specific supplies aside on my desk, kind of like creative meal prepping. I'm going to start with my gel pens. These are glittery Sakura jelly rolls, which are really great. If you had these in elementary school, you were really cool. They work really well together. They were literally made for one another since they're both Sakura brand, and I think I'm going to have to get myself a white one for writing. Next, I'm going to try pencil crayons. I've got various Derwent Colorsoft and Prismacolors, and I'm sticking with the lightest colors that I've got. I'm sure metallic pencil crayons would work nicely as well. The pencils just glide on the page. I hate it when pencils feel too dry and wooden on paper. It makes me cringe. Next, I'm going to try rainbow pencils, which I really like. They work nicely on the paper, though the rainbow effect is less pronounced than on regular white paper. The next supply I'm trying is my Paul Rubens glitter watercolors. They work really nicely on black watercolor paper, but the paper buckled with water, so it's probably just best for accents and little details. I really wasn't expecting watercolors to work well on this paper. It just doesn't absorb. I have two kinds of ink, India and acrylic, that I dug out of my art supply stash. This is from a set of India inks, and it did not show up well on the paper at all. The acrylic ink I have a lot of hope for. These bottles are really old and the droppers don't work at all. And I also dripped ink everywhere, but that's okay, it's a happy accident. The paper is really nice, but I don't feel bad about messing it up in the way that I would on white paper. So far, the acrylic ink impressed me the most, especially the white and the gold. I'm going to need to figure out a better way to use them because these little bottles are super messy and inconvenient. When I initially found this sketchbook, my first thought that it would be great for gouache, more specifically for use with my jelly gouache set. When I'm in the mood to play around with paint, I want to stay as loose as possible in order to improve and just to make a mess in general. I'm really happy that it works so well on this black paper because it's a medium that is really fun to play around with, and that's the point of this journal, to play around, experiment, and work stuff out. And for my final art supply test, I did end up ordering a set of Sakura jelly roll pens, and I'm really glad I did. They really were meant for this paper. They write really smoothly and show up nicely on the page. I don't even have to go over it more than once. Now that I've made a mess and broken this empty book in a bit, I want to jump in and get ready for art journaling, which to me means decorating the inner covers so that it feels like it's mine and that I am safe and welcome within these pages. I want to set my intentions clearly. I am art journaling for mindfulness and processing and regulating my emotions. Whatever weird stuff happens in the world, I can work on not being so reactive or scared by channeling that anxious energy into creating. For the mixed media aspect of this journal, I want to incorporate writing, painting, and collage. I have a big hoard of collage materials, from papers to vintage cards and weird things that I've cut out of old crafting magazines. I'm going to stick things down with a glue stick, and then I'm going to go over it with a layer of matte medium. Sometimes I use Mod Podge if the paper I'm gluing down is thicker, but I don't like using it as a top coat because I find that it makes the pages stick together, and this summer has been particularly humid, which makes that worse. Once the collage bits are glued down and sealed, I use a white pencil crayon to sketch out what I want to paint. I'm really into butterfly imagery right now because they are all over my garden, particularly my milkweed patch, which has really attracted the monarchs this year. I also feel really connected to butterflies right now because I'm in a weird transitional period of my life where I don't really know where I'm going or what I'm doing. But I know that I'm changing and growing, which is why I think journaling is essential. Maybe I can figure out some truths about myself and make a roadmap for where I'd like to go. As I mentioned before, I think my jelly gouache is really going to be the primary thing that I use in this journal. I love painting, mostly watercolor, but I'm always looking to incorporate more mixed media. I love the matte way gouache dries, and how you can use it with pencil crayons over top. It's more fun and forgiving than watercolor. You can just layer over your mistakes, which makes it feel more playful for a situation like art journaling. I'm not an artist that loves negative space, in that I don't like to leave any part of the paper white if I can help it. I need to color in every square inch of the page, otherwise it feels unfinished. I'm hoping that the black paper might help me to let go of that. White paper can be daunting. It's a glaring void of potential failure. It's unforgiving. It makes me feel exposed and overwhelmed. That's why I feel compelled to start all of my paintings with a colored wash, usually hot pink, spread out all over the page. It's like a ritual that helps me relax before I can really get into the process, signaling to my brain that for better or worse, the painting is good and started. Leonardo da Vinci once said, "A painter should begin every canvas with a wash of black, because all things in nature are dark, except where exposed to light." He was referring to his preferred method of painting, which uses strong contrasts of light and shadow. The darkness is the foundation, and the light brings forms and subjects out from it. Painting on dark makes it easier to create depth and tonal values as well. I think this is such an interesting way to approach this art journal. The dark is all of the things that I don't know about myself, and the light, or the marks that I make on the page, will draw it all out. It seems so much more intuitive than white paper, which is how I love to work. It focuses so much more on the process, especially for someone like me who rarely knows what I'm doing. Most days I don't know what I want to make, and I just want to paint something. Bringing light into the darkness is going to be the big theme of this art journal, and hopefully that will rub off on me. Things can feel dark and overwhelming lately, but the act of painting can be that light in the darkness, and journaling in dark mode so far feels very cozy, dark, and dramatic. I am painting the inner covers to start, but I don't think that I'm going to keep going in a chronological page order. I just want to open pages wherever and work out of order to keep things more casual. It's less of a journal as a record of my days and more of a loose record of my feelings. I don't want to feel pressured. I just want to open this journal and make marks. So now that I've had a good play inside, what is my final review of the Sakura black paper sketchbook? I really like the quality of this paper. Pencils and pens just glide right over it, and that really makes me loosen up my wrist, which is something that I really need to work on when I'm drawing and painting. Years of anxiety has made me all tight and crumpled up, so it's been nice to relax my shoulders. I really love how the jelly gouache works together with the black paper. I don't need a plan or a polished underdrawing. I can just loosely sketch with the white pencil crayon and then paint right over it, covering up as much or as little as I want. It's been a joy to work with. It also takes collage nicely. The pages are thick enough for layers, but not particularly watery ones. It tends to buckle the pages. Here's a page that I did the other day. More butterflies. This journal will probably be full of them before long. Even if you're not an artist, I could see using this as a dark mode written journal, using white gel pens rather than dark ink on white paper. It might prove more relaxing and easier on the eyes. So happy creating to everyone, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.